Hey beautiful souls, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kwezi Madlala and thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this channel for the very first time, welcome to the family. And if you are a returning subscriber, you know what we're all about. We're all about faith, lifestyle and inspiration. And today's video is a story time. Yo guys, yo. Today's video is a story time, so let's get into it. Okay, so this is how the story goes. So I remember it was in my second year at the University of Cape Town. The year had just began, and I remember I needed to get new clothes, so I asked my then friend, really close friend of mine, who is unfortunately not my friend anymore. I asked her to accompany me to Canal Walk to possibly grab a few new clothes. You know, second year, we gotta look good. you know. And then she agrees to come with me to the mall. So then we go, and then we end up at Woolworths to get a few snacks. You know, students gotta get some snacks for your room and that whole vibe. And while we at Woolworths, just minding our business, these two beautiful girls approach us. One was a colored girl and the other was a white girl. And they approach us by complimenting my skirt. So they're like, oh my word, that's such a beautiful skirt. Where did you get that skirt? You know, they start hyping me up like out of nowhere. So now I'm just like, okay, like what's happening? But of course I say thank you so much. I got this skirt from Mr. Price. I remember that skirt. It was a nude color and it was a leather skirt. And we're just complimenting it, and then the conversation started from there. So then they asked us like, what are you guys doing at Woolworths on a Sunday? So then we're like, oh yes, we're here to shop. We're students, we're doing our second year. You know, we just are really nice to them because they were nice to us, and the conversation kind of flows really well. And I remember that conversation took almost like an hour. Like we were just standing in the middle of Woolworths conversating with these girls that we just met. And I remember my friend and I, then friend, but you guys get it now, so I won't keep on referring her as a then friend. I'll just say my friend and I. So my friend and I are like having a conversation with these girls for like close to an hour, guys. And we had always wanted to create new friendships with other people because it was mostly the two of us. Like we did things together, but we just always felt like, girl, we are always together, we need to make new friends. So that encounter at Woolworths with those two girls was just like, oh my gosh, like maybe our prayers are being answered, maybe these are like our new friends, you know. So yeah, we have a conversation with these girls, it's going smoothly, conversation is flowing, we're laughing, we like are just getting to know each other at the middle of Woolworths. And then we end up exchanging numbers, and I remember the last part of our conversation was them asking us if we go to church, and we were like, yeah, we actually go to Hillsong Sensory City from time to time, but we are kind of longing for a more like a smaller church, a church that's more like family oriented, you know, a church where the pastor knows you by name. Because you know, you can imagine Hillsong is a big church and it's so easy for someone to feel like, you know, this is a lot. So we were longing for like something more homey, right? And we were telling these girls this, and they were like, oh my word, we also are searching for a church, and you know, it's just not easy to find, you know, just that sense of community in churches, so we get you guys. And then the one friend is like, oh, let's exchange numbers in case like we find something that you guys might be interested in, because you know, it seems we're it seems the four of us, are on the same wavelength, so let's exchange numbers and maybe like do lunch at Wimpy. I remember because she said Wimpy, she's like, and do lunch at Wimpy one day. Like, so we were just like, sure, like we were just like, cool. And I think at that age and stage in your life, you are just so open to meeting new people, so nothing really is suspicious or makes you raise your eyebrows. So we exchange numbers with these girls, and then we don't hear from them for like, I think, a week or two, and then one of the girls sends a message to, I'm not sure if she sent it to my friend or to me, but essentially she was inviting us to like this Bible night event. And yeah, she was like, maybe you guys will enjoy that environment, and maybe it will be like a step towards you finding that church environment or community that you are longing for. So then we're like, cool, like we'll pull through. So obviously my friend and I have a conversation about this invitation, and then we end up going to this Bible night event. And actually the other friend, okay, so let's differentiate these girls. So the girl that sent the invitation was the colored girl, so we'll call her Lucy. And so she sends the invitation to be like, hey guys, so there's this Bible event, maybe you would like to come. And then the other girl, the white girl, we'll call her Lily. I don't know. So there's Lucy and then there's Lily. Lucy is the color girl, Lily is the white girl. So Lucy sends an invitation, so then we reply, for sure we'll pull through. And Lily sends a message to me and is like, Lucy told me that she invited you guys to the Bible event. Don't worry about it, I'll pick you guys up from Res. Like, don't worry about transport. And we're like, oh Lily, no Lucy, chef's kiss, like cool. So then we go, and I remember when we got to that venue, like from the outside, that place looked like a car dealership, and the actual venue was somewhere at the top of that car dealership place, but it was just so hidden. And I remember thinking like, why is this place so hidden? And even like so when Lily picked us up from Res, there were two other people in the car, and those two other people in the car were so awkward. In the car, it was just Lily, my friend, and I conversating, and then those two other people, it was a girl and a guy, were just so quiet, now that I think about it, which might have been a red flag on its own, but cool. So we go, we get to the place, and as I said, the place from the outside looks like a car dealership, but then as you go up the stairs, there's like a building, so it's very hidden. So you get there, and even the procedure of like getting into the actual venue is very strict. Like, they're asking for your name, they're asking for your surname. I think they asked if you're a student or like what you do. They asked for your number. Hi. So in my head, I'm still thinking, okay, but I'm just thinking, maybe this is how this church place or the organizers of this event, this is how they probably do things. So I'm like, okay, so we fill in that short questionnaire and we enter the venue. And when we get to the venue, there's a lot of UCT students, actually, a lot of young people, a lot of familiar faces, and there was nothing suspicious about it. In fact, it just felt like what we needed, it was like young people. It was the room was energetic. We were being asked Bible questions. We were playing faith-based games. Yeah, so there was nothing suspicious about it. And I remember telling my friend about like how I enjoyed it. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, like I actually like this vibe. And she was also like, yeah, this vibe is nice. So she was like, oh yeah, this vibe is nice. And we left. But what was really, I think the first thing that stood out for my friend and I is how Lily and Lucy didn't seem as close anymore at the Bible events. Like, because when we met them at Woolworths, they seemed like they were like these besties, you know, and my friend and I, we were also on that like wave of being really tight and really close friends, you know. But then when we got to the Bible events, Lily and Lucy were they were acting strange. They were not even sitting with each other. Lily was doing something else. Lucy was doing something else. I don't know, just that thing we saw at Woolies, that relationship that they seemingly had, they didn't seem as strong. So we went to that Bible event and that was it. And in the following month, COVID hit, so students had to leave res and go back to their homes. So we packed our bags and left Cape Town, and lockdown happened. And then we all know that 2020 was just a rough year. And for me personally, I was just doing a lot of self-introspection. I was like trying to find myself again. I was doing a lot of inner work, and it was actually during lockdown that my friendship with my friend ended. So yeah, I was just focusing on myself. Cool. This one day, Lucy sends me a message and tells me that herself and Lily actually have this women empowerment platform. They'd love to interview me because they think I'm just this amazing woman, and I love God, and they just think I'd be the perfect person to interview. So then I was like, sure. And then they called me. So then we were in a call, the three of us, Lucy, Lily, and myself. And they were asking me questions, like a lot of questions. I've forgotten now, like exactly what the questions were asking, but they were asking me questions. But in retrospect, guys, now that all is said and done, those questions were essentially to get insights on me. So now that I think back at it, it's giving monitoring spirits, you know, it's giving trying to get some information out of me. And then that happens. And then Lucy again invites me to this woman empowerment session, and she says, Lily, myself, and these other women are holding a woman empowerment session, and I think you'd really love it, because you know you're all about that and like purpose and all these, you know. Also at that age, guys, you are trying to connect with people who are all about like purpose and faith and all about supporting women, you know, and all that great stuff, right? And she says, yeah, there's this woman empowerment online event, would you like to join? There's just going to be a lot of like other inspirational women. It's like a nice community, and we'd actually like for you to be a speaker. And because we really love your YouTube content, because I had created a YouTube video during lockdown. They're like, yeah, we've been watching your YouTube videos and we just think you're brilliant. So we just like for you to be one of the speakers in the online woman empowerment event. So I'm like, okay, like I'd love to, So at that point, I just thought that Lucy was just someone that God had sent into my life to, like, connect me with other women who are all about the things that I was passionate about, like faith, woman, purpose, passion, all of those great things. So then cool. So then they tell me that they'd like for me to speak on the topic of friendship. And for me, I was like, that's interesting. I'm all about like friendship, and I had just come out of a friendship. So I had a lot to share on friendship. So I just thought, it's making sense. Cool, I'll come and share. And then, okay, the online woman empowerment event happens, and there's again women there, again women who went to UCT, some women who were like already professionals, and honestly they were sharing about like God and faith and life and purpose and just different topics that were fruitful. So there was nothing suspicious then. But at the end of that woman empowerment event situation, so there's this girl who was like the main speaker, and in her closing speech, she was telling us about her career journey and how she's evolving into this amazing woman. And the reason why she is evolving into this amazing woman is because of her mentor. And her mentor has been so helpful in her life. Her mentor has her mentor is the reason why she's thriving in her career, in all of these different things. Right? So if anyone would like to get in touch with her mentor, they should, leave their numbers and she'll get them in touch with her mentor, and we can all grow and thrive, and be, our best versions, right? Right. So I leave my number as well. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd definitely like to get in touch with this mentor of yours. Sounds good. And then Lucy hits me up again on WhatsApp, and she's like, oh my gosh, how did you find the event? I'm like, it was good. She tells me my speech was great, and she's like, so what did you think about the whole mentor thing? And then I was like, it sounds really interesting. Like, it sounds like something that would, help me grow. It sounds like a great way to be the woman that I've always envisioned myself to become, like, a mentor, guys. And then because we had obviously left our numbers at that woman online event thing, the main speaker calls me. She calls me and she says, hey, so I'd just like to get to know you, because I saw you, attended and you shared something in the woman empowerment online event, and I just tell me more about yourself. So I tell her, I'm like, my name is so and so, and I go to the University of Cape Town. I'm doing my second year. That's what I'm passionate about. And she's like, oh my word, that's lovely. And she's asking me all these questions. And she's like, so where are you originally from? I'm like, I'm from Pietermaritzburg. Which high school did you go to? I went to Pietermaritzburg Girls High School. Guess what, guys? That girl and I went to the same high school. Just that she was years ahead of me, so I wouldn't have, paid notice to her. And she obviously wouldn't have paid notice to me because we were like years apart. And then we clicked over that as well, or the fact that we went to the same high school. And she was like, oh my gosh, Mrs. So-and-so. And then I'm like, yes, I do know Mrs. So-and-so, and now we connected with the fact that we're both from Pietermaritzburg, both went to GHS, and now miraculously we have connected over this woman this woman empowerment online event, and yeah, like I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad to have met you. So then she goes, okay, well, I'm going to connect you to my mentor. So then her mentor reaches out to me and tells me that so and so mentioned to me that you were interested in the whole mentorship thing, and she's so excited to work with me. And actually in the mentorship program thing, I will be partnered up with Lucy. So then I'm like, how? Me and Lucy, man, we're always finding our way together. Like me and Lucy, we're always me and Lucy, there's something there with me and Lucy. So then I'm like, how? I'm paired with Lucy. Okay, interesting. So then Lucy and I start chatting on WhatsApp because we realized that we've been paired together to attend the session with this mentor, and we're excited, and Lucy's asking me like, how are you feeling? Like, I'm like, I'm excited, I'm a bit nervous, but this is good because it's all about growth, it's all about becoming the woman of my dreams, right? And it's faith-based, so I'm really like excited about it. And Lucy shares the same sentiments, and she's like, we're gonna walk this journey together, like I'm so excited, vibes. And then we start these mentorship sessions with this mentor, and she tells us what she does and how she's going to help us. And then I think the first week it was all about how to find your purpose through God. And then the second week it started being more like biblical. Like it just shifted from that whole purpose conversation to more like, let's look at the Bible. So okay, I'm glad, I'm happy, because I'm all about the Bible. Like, yes, let's look at the Bible. Of course, let's look at the Bible. And then we start looking at the Bible, but obviously as the mentor, she's the one who's in charge and is kind of leading this whole thing. And then Lucy and I are just the students who are there to kind of draw from her knowledge, right? So Lucy and I are attending and we're learning, and I already had a very solid biblical background. Like my home church, the church that I go to, is a very biblical church. So it's not that like I was not rooted in the Bible, but I was willing to learn more, so it was just really great for me to find that how our mentor is also very biblical. And she was just challenging me on a few things, on how I view the stories of the Bible. We were just going through like certain chapters, and like she was teaching us about the covenants and about like Abraham and his covenants with God, things that make sense. Nothing suspicious there as well. Oh, what was suspicious is that I asked Lucy that from the woman empowerment event, why is it that it is just Lucy, myself, and the mentor who are going through this mentorship program? Like, is she seeing other people as well, and then is she mentoring other people as well on other days? Where is she finding all of this time? Because in the women empowerment online events, there was quite a lot of us, maybe about like 40 of us. So I was asking, like, is she mentoring all of us? Like, what's happening? And Lucy didn't have an answer for me. She was just like, I don't know. But I just find it strange how Lucy and I just miraculously ended up together. in that mentorship situation with, the mentor girl. And then I didn't see anything wrong from the mentorship thing as well. Like, for me, we were just reading the Bible, getting to know more about the Bible. I was getting to, I felt like I needed to get more knowledge anyway. So for me, I was like, maybe this is God's way of revealing more about his word to me through, other believers. Like, I honestly did not think much of it. And then towards the end, so this mentorship program thing, let's say it took a period of a month. And then towards the end, the mentor tells Lucy and I that, guys, it actually doesn't end here. You guys have the once in a lifetime opportunity to be a part of a larger group where these self-development and Bible study sessions occur, but it's with a larger group, and I think it's something you'd actually really, enjoy. So then I'm like, okay, because it's just things are happening so quickly, and I was just starting to process what exactly is happening, but a lot was happening. So then we're like, okay. So then she asks us, do you want to be a part of this larger group? And Lucy and I are like, yeah. Lucy and I have a conversation, and we're like, Lucy's like, so what are your thoughts on being a part of this larger group? So then I'm like, sure, like, why not? And she's also like, yeah, I'm also like, I'm looking forward to it. And then cool. And this is where the story gets crazy. So we enter this bigger group. Oh, before we enter this bigger group, the mentor is like, yeah, before you enter the bigger group, I just want you to meet someone who's just going to tell you more about it, and then yeah, he'll be the one taking you through, right? And then we're like, okay, cool. So we meet this person. It was a guy, very friendly. These people are friendly, guys. These people are friendly. Like, there's just nothing suspicious. Maybe the friendliness is suspicious. But yeah, we meet this guy and he's like, yeah, we're so excited to have you. So this takes place on Zoom, and it takes place at these times and these times. So just please try your best to make it, and there's other people there. So, he just tells it to us and we're like, oh yeah, cool, great. And then now we start attending this larger Bible study, I guess. Also just thinking now, I'm like, how did the whole purpose faith talk turn into a Bible study, turn into a larger Bible study? It's crazy. Cool. So then we start attending these Zoom meetings with this organization that's hosting these Bible studies, and this organization we've been referred to by the mentor. So then now we're there, and even there, like, there's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just, from what I saw initially, was that it was just a group of believers coming together to learn more about the word, and there was one person who would share and kind of unpack the word, and then we would be split up into groups after that person has shared, and within those groups would kind of unpack what was being shared. And through all of that, Lucy was always with me, even in the Zoom meetings. After that main person who was sharing about the Bible, when we now had to split into like different groups, it just so happened that Lucy and I were in the same group under the same like leader within the group, because even within the groups, there was someone facilitating the group online, right? So then weeks go by, and it's like, I'm learning more about the Bible, because also, let's be honest, sometimes we don't make enough time to read the word for ourselves. So it's nice to have a community, that's going to challenge you to read the Bible and just get to know more about God. So then these Bible sessions keep happening. But then at some point, I'm like so over it, because I don't know, just a part of me is like, when did we get here? So then I start telling Lucy, who's the girl I entered this thing with. I tell Lucy, I'm like, I don't think I want to be a part of this thing anymore. I think I'm good now. And then she's like, oh no, don't give up so easily, it's probably the devil just trying to, distract you. And that Bible study organization situation, they were big on okay, so since you're part of this Bible study, just know that you are chosen to be here, and just know that the enemy will do anything it takes to get you out of this Bible study. So be vigilant. We actually even recommend that you don't even tell other people that you're part of this Bible study, because they might just try and stop you from learning all of these great things. And there's actually no other place where you can learn these great things. It's only here, right? So then my friend Lucy, when I told her that I think I'm good now, girl, I think I've done my fair share, she was like, no, it's probably the devil, don't let that get to you, let's keep going. Hi, cool. And then I keep going, I keep attending, and there was a certain point where in the Bible study, it switched. There was a switch. Spiritually, there was a switch. And the switch was in how they started interpreting the Bible. There was a certain perversion to it that started happening, that I also started noticing, because I was like, But I've been to church all my life, and the Bible has never been interpreted in this way. Why are you interpreting the Bible in this way? And they were telling us about parables, and how the parables of Jesus are actually hidden messages, and there's only one person here on earth who can reveal those messages to us, and we're gonna meet that person at the right time, so you must just keep attending, And they were so strict about you attending. They made sure that you attend. You couldn't have an excuse for not attending. If you said, this week I'm not attending, it's like, no, you have to, because we're going deeper now. We're going deeper, and remember, you're the chosen one, and have to, they were just on some, no, you have to be there. You cannot miss out. And so, yeah, that's how it happened. And then time went by, and then again, I told Lucy, I'm like, the Holy Spirit is telling me it's enough now. Yeah, I think I want out. So as I said that, within the Bible study organization, we were put into groups, and within that group we had a leader, and that leader's job essentially was to check in on us. Did you understand today's session well? What did you get from it? And just making sure that what was taught was kind of understood by us and ingrained into us. So yeah, so then this one time I tell Lucy that the Holy Spirit is saying it's enough now. Yeah, you can get out of this now. And every time I tell Lucy about me wanting out, somehow the group leader would message me on some, "Are you okay? I feel like I'm sensing in the spirit that you're not okay." And and I'm just worried that it might be the enemy attacking you. So, and I used to be so confused as to how does she know? Like, how would she know that those thoughts are what I am thinking about? No, guys, I think Lucy would tip her off every time I had like some sort of inkling of like, of me saying enough is enough now. And every time I had those thoughts, because obviously I had taken Lucy as a friend now, and obviously Lucy and I were in this journey together, and Lucy and I would share what was being discussed in these Bible studies together, as friends, as people who came from the same mentorship thing and are now here, right? And it was just all so strange. Like, it was strange, but then cool, I kept attending. And I also felt this pressure of like, oh, shame, like Lucy and I came into this together, so like let me not leave her here alone, and let me just keep going. So as I said, that there was a point in time where the way they were teaching the word was just changing. Like, you can feel, man, when there's just a change. It's like a shift of a gear of, where we are now. And as I said, they were on some, we're the only people who know how to read the Bible for what it actually is. So you just need to be grateful and thank God to be here because you're a chosen one. And so then there came a point where they started saying that Jesus is back on earth right now, and he's operating, his spirit, Jesus' spirit is operating through this one chosen man. This one chosen man is alive. He lives in South Korea, and he is the chosen one. He is the one that has the revelation. He is the one that, he is the one, he is the key to heaven, basically, is what they were saying. And that's when I said, ain't no way, it can't be. That is literally when I started detaching from that whole Bible study. I was like, what are they saying now? And they'd have like presentations, guys. They'd have presentations of like what they were saying. They'd have like, they were so orderly also in terms of how they presented this thing to you, and so strategic and so basically manipulative. That's what I got out of it. Basically manipulative in how they like were sharing this information. It shifted from like being the Bible that I know to being this new teaching, new ideology, new way of looking at the world. And they were saying that if you're not a part of their organization, you are in hell. Basically, they are in heaven. And anyone who's not a part of their organization is in hell. Anyone who doesn't subscribe to their way of viewing and interpreting the Bible will not enter heaven. And I was like, hey boo, what is this now? And just how like secretive they were about their organization. Like, they would tell us like, don't tell your family that you are part of this Bible study, and don't tell your friends because, as we said, the devil doesn't want you knowing this truth about the word of God. Well, truth about the word of God. So like you need to guard it and make sure that no one knows. Hey, it was so strange, guys. And then when that whole thing was about to end, and I remember I was just losing my identity slowly but surely. I was losing my belief in God. I was just so confused. I was like, what is happening? I was just perplexed. I was confused. I was like, what is happening? Like, why am I in this thing? Like, how did I end up here? And I was just, guys, I was just going through it. I was really going through it. That time, Lucy, is there encouraging me, like, no, we need to keep going. We need to keep highball. So then it came to a point where they revealed their true identity. They revealed who they really were. I remember they were like, because now we've come to the end of these Bible study sessions, now we can reveal to you who we really are. I said, what do you mean reveal who you really are? So then they told me the name. I'm not sure if I should share the name, but essentially they're a cult. So they share the name. As soon as I found out what the name was, I went to Google and I Googled this name. What is this name? It was a Korean name. It means new heaven, new earth. I Googled this name. Haibo, guys. Not me almost being recruited into a cult. So their plan was, after revealing their true identity to me or to the people who were attending these Bible study sessions, because of the indoctrination that they had managed to kind of seep in through these Bible study sessions, then now you could be a part of their church. Yeah. Traumatic. That's all I can say. Like, I was just like traumatized. And there's something about what God did within me when they actually revealed their true identity, because it was just at the mention of that Asian name that it's like the light bulbs went on into my mind. I then realized, oh, so this is what's happening. Okay, I've been lured into this scheme, into this strategy of trying to get me to be a part of this cult, and it was just done so strategically. It was done through deception. It was done in such a way where I wouldn't get out of it. And after doing my research, I actually found out that what could have been happening is that Lucy was obviously in on it. The mentor was in on it, and that main speaker girl in the woman online event session was also in on it, and the people who I was attending these online Bible study sessions with on Zoom, some of them were actually in on it too, because not everyone who was attending those sessions was actually a newcomer like myself. Some people were actually parading as newcomers. So that is crazy. So chances are that Lucy was also parading as one who didn't know what was happening. Gandhi, guys, they want to put us in their weird stuff. And Okay, so upon them revealing who they actually are, revealing their name, the light bulbs went on, and I remember I just cried. I cried. Like, I cried. And it all made sense. Like, I don't know how, but it all made sense. And it like, just from that moment on, I cried, did my research on the name, realized what was happening to me, and then I ended contact with Lucy, I ended contact with the mentor, ended contact with the group leader, and I just blocked everyone. And I was like, what you're not going to do is recruit me. And I remember in the last session, they were asking me for my ID number. They're like, okay, so now you can just send us your ID number because you've done all these Bible study sessions and you've managed to come to the end. We're able to reveal ourselves to you, and we need your ID number and your details so that we can register you as an official member of our church. I said, ID number. I said, ID number? For what? Why do you need my ID number for? And yeah, that's literally when everything made sense. And yeah, God took me out. I didn't proceed further. I just blocked everyone. And they tried to call me. Lucy tried to call me. Like, Lucy was like, please don't go. It's not like how it looks. Like, she was trying to say something, but she was struggling to say something. And I was just like, girl, no. If it means me not being a part of that organization means I'm in hell, good. I would gladly, because I was like, there's just no way. And how they distorted the Bible and how they changed the Bible to, aid the belief in this man who supposedly has the spirit of Jesus in him, who is living in this earth and is the gateway apparently to heaven. I was like, sorry, no. And then after that, I was literally in such a bad place spiritually. I didn't believe what had happened to me. I didn't understand why I had to go through something so crazy. What a crazy experience. And now that I think back to it, during that period of my life of that whole situation, I wasn't okay. Even the dreams I would have were just weird and bad, and I was so unsettled in my spirit, and it felt like I was carrying this heavy load, but at the same time I was confused as to what is happening. It was just really tough, and I just want to thank God that my eyes were not closed to the point of me actually attending the church, which is not really a church, it's a cult, guys. That God was able to open up my eyes, and I was able to see my situation for what it was, and I was able to see that from that very beginning of these two girls approaching me and my then friend at Woolworths, it was all just a part of the plan, and probably the whole woman empowerment events, and calling me and just trying to find out more about who I am was just them kind of monitoring me or trying to get more about who I am and if I'd be a perfect fit for whatever evil scheme they were trying to accomplish. Because I genuinely believe that place is not grand. Like, it's definitely not from God. There's too many lies, too much scheming, and it's just not biblical, and it takes advantage of people who are genuinely seeking God. People like myself who just genuinely were seeking God, genuinely wanted to improve themselves, genuinely wanted to be associated with kingdom-minded people, but only to find that it's all a trap. So now it's years past that happening. God has healed me. A couple of months after that, I genuinely struggled to read the Bible. I struggled to pray. I was even doubting Christianity. I was like, what is this? But now I understand that, it was literally just a test. And, just like how Job was tested, I literally felt like I was also being tested, but God was with me throughout. And he did not allow me to die in that place. He did not allow me to lose myself in that place. God is worthy to be praised because he was able to take me out of that place. And by God's grace, I didn't bring anyone like that I truly care about with me into that environment. So praise God for that. So yeah. I've healed a lot from that. And after that, like, God enlarged my territory. Like, God did amazing things in my life. Like, after that, that's when my social media trajectory kind of went up. I know some of you guys know that I was a part of a certain brand's influencer competition, and I won that. So after that, like, God showed me that he was with me, like, throughout, and that he still cared about me through all of that, and he was going to continue to bless me, and that I hadn't lost anything by leaving that place. Instead, I was going to be able to raise awareness about organizations like that and really push the importance of worshiping God in spirit and in truth. If there's no truth in that church that you go to, in that Bible study that you go to, then my brother or my sister, I'm sorry to break it to you, but God is not there. God is not there, because God is a God of truth. If there's deception, get out, and just test the spirits. So actually, because this situation traumatized me so much, I had told myself that I'll probably never have the courage to come and, share it. But God has been prompting me to share it as a testimony and also to raise awareness. So this traumatic experience happened mid-2020 during lockdown. It was all happening virtually, and then it ended early 2021. And obviously 2021, continued to live my life, was free, was happy, was finding my way back to God, was just maturing in faith. And then 2022, I went back to this incredible church in Cape Town called Shofar, and that was also part of my healing journey, and I actually found great community there. Loved it, loved the people there, loved the experiences there, loved the word there, loved the worshiping God in spirit and in truth there. So that's the church I would go to while I was in Cape Town. So yeah, God definitely did heal me, up until the point where now I'm back on YouTube, sharing his word again. I obviously told my parents about the incident. I was like, you won't believe what happened to me, like right under your nose. And yeah, my dad prayed over me. My mom was so shook. She was like, girl, what? Like, she was just like, girl, like, my mom was traumatized alongside with me, right? But yeah, we overcame that. I went to therapy. Guys, I needed the therapy. I went to therapy. I healed a lot, and now I'm definitely in a much better space. But the funny thing is, this year is 2023, like I said, that whole crazy incident happened mid 2020 to early 2021, right? And then it's been like 2 years after that, and now it's 2023. So what's interesting and like so crazy is that early this year, my mom asked me to accompany her to her physiotherapist. So then we went, right? So the physiotherapist rooms are in town, in Pietermaritzburg, my hometown. But it's in a place that's not very like busy. I'd say it's pretty secluded, but it's in town. So we get there, my mom goes in for a consultation, and then while we're there, my mom and I start seeing cars coming in this venue, like cars coming in, and we're like, like what's happening? Is there an event? Because obviously there's other rooms or other buildings within that same vicinity where the physiotherapists operate. So then we're thinking like, oh, maybe there's like an event happening. My mom finishes off with her consultation, and then we leave the physiotherapist room. And then I'm like, Ma, my spirit is telling me that something that's not right is happening in that building where all the cars were kind of parking and the people were entering into. So then my mom and I, like, we get into our car to observe what's actually happening in this building. Guys, it's the people from that cult in Pietermaritzburg. I thought that thing was only like in Cape Town. I know this because of the way they were dressed. So upon doing my research, I know that the people of that organization wear black and white to their actual church, which they call a temple, and it's young people, mostly people that you wouldn't suspect are in, a cult. And it was really crazy because I was like, Ma, I think that's the organization that tried to recruit me. I think that's the organization. My mom's like, wait, we'll just sit and see. Let's sit and see. Guys, it was them, from like how they plastered up papers on their windows so that no one could see what was happening inside. But my mom and I could essentially see the people walking in. They're wearing black and white. They took off their shoes before they entered the venue, and it literally was them, no doubt about it. And what's crazy is, as my mom and I were exiting the vicinity, there was one lady, so we were exiting the vicinity, and then there was one lady coming, walking towards the vicinity. So then I'm like to my mom, Ma, please stop the car so that I can ask this lady if these people are part of this certain organization. So then I stopped this lady and I say the name of the organization. I'm like, lady, are you a part of this organization? The shock in her face, guys, because obviously their things are done in a way where nobody really knows it's that organization. So then for me to know the name was just, she was caught off guard, and she was like, yes. And I was like, oh, these people are everywhere. These people are in Pietermaritzburg. It seems they've just started being in Pietermaritzburg, but they're everywhere around the entire world, like America, Australia, South Korea, all of these various places. So yeah, it's crazy because their organization is growing, and they're targeting innocent people who are just seeking God. And the way that they're doing these things is just, it's just filled with so much deception, and God is not there. So that happened. And then 3 weeks ago, I was at home, and then these young people were just going from house to house, like entering from house to house. And they were also wearing black and white, and they were handing out pamphlets. I actually saw them going into my neighbor's house, and my mom is like, Kwezi, who are these people handing out pamphlets? And then she's like, I think, like, judging from how they dressed and judging from the people I see when I go for my therapy sessions, the people who attend at that same vicinity, it looks like the same people. And I was so sad to see that among the people that were like handing out the pamphlets, like there was a guy I knew, and I was just like, he probably doesn't know, like maybe he doesn't know. And they were handing out these pamphlets, and obviously now they call themselves by a different Bible study name, but still the same organization, just calling themselves in a different name from what they termed themselves from when I was lured into their whole little thing. So yeah, and I was so triggered. And what's interesting now is that they actually put the name of their organization. Now they put it on their pamphlets, but still people don't know. And yeah, it was just so crazy how like the mission is still going, and they still are trying to recruit more people. So my prayer is that this reaches someone who might have found themselves in a similar situation, and that this would be a sign for them to leave and to understand that this thing is just, it's crazy business. It's crazy business, and you need to get out before you lose your identity, before you lose all your relationships, before you are in it too deep and cannot escape. And life could literally pass you by just by you being a part of something that God does not intend for you to be in. So that's just me. That's the story time. I know it's a lot and it's crazy, but thank God that he was able to deliver me. And I was just thinking that if I had not gone through that experience, they might have recruited my mom, maybe, because my mom just so happens to go to physiotherapy sessions located in the same vicinity that they so happen to have a building that they used to worship in. They might have recruited my family because it just so happened that they started sending out pamphlets within my neighborhood. So for the fact that I went through that and came out of it, and God allowed me to come out of it, I'm able to warn my family, I'm able to warn all believers, warn my neighbors and anyone who might be watching this channel. Wow, I feel like I've said a lot. So I just want to leave you guys with two important scriptures. And the first one is found in Galatians chapter 1, verse 6 to 10. And the title is, There is Only One Good News. And it reads, verse 6, I am shocked that you are turning away so soon from God, who called you to himself through the loving mercy of Christ. You are following a different way that pretends to be the good news, but it is not the good news at all. You are being fooled by those who deliberately twist the truth concerning Christ. Verse 8. Let God's curse fall on anyone, including us, or even an angel from heaven who preaches a different kind of good news than the one we preached to you. I say again what we have said before. If anyone preaches any other good news than the one you welcomed, let that person be cursed. Verse 10 reads, obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, but of God. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant. Amen. And I'd also like to leave you guys with words from 1 John chapter 4, from verse 1 to 6. The title is Discerning False Prophets. It reads, Dear friends, do not believe everyone who claims to speak by the Spirit. You must test them to see if the Spirit they have comes from God. For there are many false prophets in the world. This is how we know if they have the Spirit of God. If a person claiming to be a prophet acknowledges that Jesus Christ came in a real body, that person has the Spirit of God. But if someone claims to be a prophet and does not acknowledge the truth about Jesus, that person is not from God. Such a person has the spirit of the Antichrist, which you heard is coming into the world and indeed is already here. Verse 4. But you belong to God, my dear children. You have already won a victory over those people, because the Spirit who lives in you is greater than the Spirit who lives in the world. Those people belong to this world, so they speak from the world's viewpoint, and the world listens to them. But we belong to God, and those who know God listen to us. If they do not belong to God, they do not listen to us. That is how we know if someone has the spirit of truth or the spirit of deception. Now, my prayer is that in the body of Christ, in the church, and in the world at large, we would all come to know and believe the truth of the good news, and to be wary of false prophets, and to test the spirits, and to make sure that we read the word for ourselves and cultivate a relationship with Jesus that is intimate, one where you know that God can reveal things to you, and that there's no human being, there's no man that holds the key to heaven for you to receive the free gift of salvation. There's no man on earth that holds your destiny. There's no man on earth that holds your destiny except God and God alone. There's no man on earth who holds your destiny. It is God and God alone. So yeah, so this was a very tough story time, but it was also very liberating for me to share the story and to raise awareness. So be careful out there. Don't attend Bible studies you don't know. Don't talk to strangers in the mall and start befriending them. Like, just test the spirits and always listen to God's voice, because the word does say that those who belong to Jesus, they know his voice. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope this was encouraging for someone, and I really hope that it raised awareness of what is happening out there, and just for us to be really mindful of the environments we find ourselves in and the information we share, and just to ensure that everything that we do is led by the Holy Spirit, and to listen to the Holy Spirit and to operate in spirit and in truth. Until next time, lots of love and God bless.